This is a Bergonzoni Flash. It's from the 90s era of 8-scale rallycross, and it's from Italy. It's exotic, it's red as you'd expect, and let's dive in and see what the Italian answer to Kyosho on a world stage was all about. So let's have a look outside. It's got that nice big glass dome where the driver was supposedly going to sit. Maybe you could have had a passenger in there, it's so wide. Although you do get a good look of the fuel filter, but notably no cutout for refueling on that body shell. So you would have had to make that decision yourself. But they weren't thinking, yeah, you're going to run a race and refuel it. And it's not a great shape for that at all. So maybe the body was off something else, or essentially they're more concerned with styling at this point. Although you do have some good like aero type ideas on that body. Fairly different really to the Kyosho of the area. In comparison, you've got decent downforce wing with a double element, and that is held up by an interesting single support there. It has adjustments on it. It has, let's just take that off. It has that mount that can be, there you go, that's a good look at it. So you got your adjustments on that wing. So aero was of concern. Let's give you a front view. Rear view. Nice machine this, with the red anodizing in gold. And who cannot love those 3-spoke red wheels? Awesome. Okay, let's take the body off. This one's got an RB engine. When we get onto the paperwork later, I think that's what the importer of the vehicle wanted to run, because they've given a fair bit of literature on how to run an RB engine in one of these. But yeah, look, guys, isn't it great? Looks great. That red, the plastics and the design, it's quite striking. Serious front bumper on that. Got a good bit of flex in it, so you could bash out the competition out the way. Right, let's have a look at this front suspension. So we have got double wishbone, adjustable top arm, C-hub, got a universal joint in there, and quite a nice long articulate travel, well damped. Looks to be a progressive rate spring, you see there. Thinner coils, the coils more tightly packed at one end than the other. And then what would have been quite an innovation at the time is the threaded adjustable shock collar. So that's a really nice touch there. The hardware, they've used posi-drive screwdrivers, circlip for that top arm. You have an anti-roll bar running across there, articulated by the lower wishbone. Quite a weedy steering arm, probably not going to take too much hits, that, although the bell cranks and the brace looks quite decent. Quite a nice mixture of hex screws there in the posi drives. Not sure if they were added after or that's just how they came. And that's a top look inside the hub. $17mm hex, and that's what your lower wishbones look like. Nice and shiny. Good example this, no scratches on the underneath. Adjustable engine mounts, bump start flywheel, and quite sort of a standard thickness chassis there. No CNCing or anything fancy like that. Okay, let's get back to the top. Got an EFRA 9862 RB pipe, and we've got an RB engine. That noise is the battery pack falling out, which I'll get onto in a second. Nice RB motor there. Turning over. Oh, you can hear that after run oil squeeze out that plug. Can't even turn it over. Okay, let's get to the other side of the middle. Right, so here we have their battery pack for this car, which was odd. AA batteries, 5-cell arrangement in that configuration, and that was made to fit sort of here, the side. It's had a Dean's plug soldered on, but I hope you can sort of see that. That's how they wanted to run the battery in this. So it's quite far out from the centre, and it's more forward than where battery packs were generally located near the back. So this could have been an evolution in the sort of understanding that having the weight forward in the buggy is actually advantageous, whereas previously weight was often orientated towards the back of the buggy. Right, we've got a pretty standard servo tray here with throttle and steering servos, some Futaba ones in there. Show the steering. Now, not too much lock there, that's on full lock, as is that. So we hadn't got onto the extreme lock and articulation era yet. Now, that fancy bit in the middle is a torsion differential. I wonder if you can see the writing on it. Try and get a good angle. Right, let's move this brake line. Right, well, there's a sticker on it. It says torsion. So for those of you not familiar with a torsion, I've made a video specifically on that type of differential. So have a look through my videos, and I'll try and add it in the description, and you can see how one of them works. It's quite a fancy bit of kit. Interesting, something that's nice to own. And that's joined onto a plastic spur gear and steel clutch belt. So throttle servo. And the RB engine. So this box here was all for the receiver, although that looks like it's big enough for the battery pack and a receiver if you wanted to. While we're onto that differential, just show you a piece of literature that came with it. and I'll give you a brief reading of it. The torsen, they call it a torsen, generally defined as intelligent by technicians. It's intelligent, you know. Permits a higher discharge of power on the wheels, thus preventing skidding when cornering out of curves or wheel skipping, as well as supplying the same torque to both wheels. This differential has been developed in identical version to the one used by Lancia, Maserati, Ferrari and Lotus, with the only difference on that the two worm screws have to be eliminated. We are the only one manufacturers in the world providing this type of differential. So bold claims there. The design of a torsen like that, I have seen several manufacturers making it, but maybe they were at the time the first to get it out into an RC, which gives an idea of how competitive RC racing has always been. Things would literally be developed at the forefront of real motorsport or full-size motorsport, and not long after you would see it in an RC deployed in as competitively as it could be. And I've always loved that about RC, because it's a way you can really engage with the sharp end of technology, vehicle dynamics, vehicle development. Yeah, it's small, but that enables you to engage with it in such a fantastic way. You know, you're holding it in your hands, you can feel that differential between your fingers, how much torque it's transferring or not versus another differential, and get such a great, you know, intrinsic understanding of what's involved with these mechanical parts and electrical parts now. So they were proud of that. Let's get on to the back suspension. Fairly inferno-esque layout. Double wishbone, adjustable top arm, anti-roll bar, threaded adjustable shock absorber. Got a bit stiffer and longer stroke on the back. Still got the progressive rate spring. Nice rear case there, Bergonzoni, and some CNC bits. We didn't do the front differential, but it's just standard geared types here, and they've come with quite a lightweight fluid from the factory. So they were all in banking on that torsen center diff. And as this is a late video, we can reflect on history and say all competition rallycross cars ditched the torsen diff in the end and just went with silicone oils for the setup. So I guess it wasn't really doing the best job for it. I can say from personal experience, I've got real cars that have, I've got one with a torsen type A, a torsen type B, and a plate type differential, and can, you know, when you're driving on the limit, you do feel there's a slight delay in lockup of torque transfer in the torsen diffs, whereas what can seem a more basic mechanical plate diff or even a viscous diff has just slightly more predictability. The torsen is predictable, being fixed mechanical, but there's a slight delay before you get the engagement from it, and I can imagine that delay is just too much for how on the knife edge you are with 1/8 scale rallycross racing. That's just my experience. I enjoy trying all these things out in full size and small size. I love the idea of a torsen in an RC, and got a few here. You know, love having that complex mechanical thing in there. Let me know what you guys think. What's your experience been of them? Hobao pushed the concept with a Torsen Type 2 planetary arrangement of gears with what they call the spider diff, and they've sort of mass produced that as options for the front centre or rear. I actually personally haven't used one of those, so that's always been on my list to give one of them a go. Anyway, digressing a bit, going on about Torsen diffs. Also notably from the back, we've got that single wing mount. I quite like that. It's elegant. It's actually quite sturdy as well, as you can feel. So I like that. Let's give an idea of rear travel. The setup it's on, it's running quite a lot of preload or large space here, and let's just see what it's like. I mean, it's a good setup. Completely neutral landing there, perfectly damped. We had a brief look at the underneath, just give you an overview. I like it. It's a nice buggy, this. Rare, unusual, good looking, well made, innovative. These are all the great things about RC from the era. Right, let's just go through some of the paperwork because we're lucky to have it here. So, Nitro models in Barnoldswick, Lancashire. They gave a whole additional advice literature here, how to set up your front or rear diff. Classic line, it's well worth spending time to get it right. Right, well, they probably were trying to eliminate problems ahead of time here by giving you this. So they have given quite good details there. If anybody wants this uploaded or me to go through it in depth, just add a comment and I'll definitely send it to you, especially if you've run one of these cars, because these are the observations from the day and the importer, so they'd be well worth it for you if you have a Bergonzoni. It's the RB concept engine. So we had an RB concept in here. Just note they've put that they were UK Rallycross champions in 96, 99, 2000, 01, 02 and 03. So I have stated this is a 90s era car, but looks probably was early 2000s. What else have they put here? Some engine running notes for the RB engine. And then we've got the main instructions. That's how they came. We've got a whole blue version on the front there. So I guess you could have his and hers. What do you guys think? The blue-black combo or the red-black combo? This is relatively straightforward instructions here. Exploded diagrams, part numbers. It's in Italian. You're not going to get the most out of that. Oh look, here we go. It's a good exploded diagram of that Torsen differential. How to assemble it. There you go. So road version of it, GB Blast. Maybe the Blast was a variant. Oh, some good setup advice. If you can read Italian. Again though, if you're running one of these or want scans of this literature, I'll do it for you. So maybe those instructions were universal for a couple of cars and parts, because now we're on to Flash, which is this car. And some different specs of the Flash. Looks like one of the top specs had the Torsen in it, other ones didn't. Well, that says Torsen Central. Oh, but it says Torsen Central, so then you've got exploded diagrams, part numbers. Yeah, and these are all the Flash parts. You get the idea. If you want it in depth, then let me know. Just looking at that rear diff, looks like we've got planetary differentials in there. Was that an option or? Not sure. So there you have it. Sorry I rambled a bit, but it's nice to show off these things if you've never seen one. With the official literature from the time, gives a bit of insight. Let me know what you think. I like it. I think I'll be keeping this one in the collection. It's nice to look at. It's got some interesting features, and not seen many of these about, so that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. Like and subscribe for more vintage, retro, rare RC, in-depth look-ats.